Libya is descending into greater chaos with almost 50 people killed as a result of tribal warfare in the last several days alone. Ethnic groups in the south of the country have been locked in bitter conflict to wrest power and territory from rival tribes. Well, let's talk more on that with London-based activist and journalist Sukant Chandan. Well, it's been many months since the official victory of the Libyan revolution, but violence continues. Dozens are killed almost on a weekly basis. Why?
I think the problem we have in Libya currently is that there is no actual basis for national unity. When before, from 1969, Gaddafi had his revolution, and within a year, the biggest military base of the United States at Wheelers Airfield was got rid of in 1 year, and the British Air Base. You know, there was actually a political leadership and a political momentum and organization and movement that sought to unite the tribes of Libya on the basis of independence and a progressive internal economic policy and an anti-imperialist foreign policy. What we have now currently is Libya essentially the whole nation has been lynched by NATO and their so-called Islamist allies, and this is happening across the region. NATO is conducting regime change through its quote-unquote Islamist proxies. So now all those tensions, all those divisions that the Gaddafi era had kind of united and kind of managed successfully has all come out in the open, and everyone is fighting everyone for a bit of the crumbs which NATO is throwing at them.
But the transitional government is made up of Libyans. Why is it that they cannot resurrect that sort of stability in the Gaddafi era? Why are they failing to provide the security now?
I mean, I think all the political forces that could provide that security were actually involved in the Gaddafi government. They've all been persecuted, they've been hunted. You know, Mr. Dorda, who was the permanent representative to the United Nations, is currently going through a ridiculous show trial, but all respect to him. He's perhaps one of the most upstanding and you know, dignified humans of Libya. That just 3 days ago he was on TV saying he was proud to serve under Gaddafi, and that the new Libya is absolutely a country of death and destruction and just being ravaged, and people should recognize that. And I think Mr. Dorda was right. And then you have the former Prime Minister being sent from Tunisia. Mr. Marzouki, the Tunisian Prime Minister, assured the world that he wasn't going to send him back to Libya, but that's been done over his head, and there's rumours that there was a $200 million deal done to get him back, and he's being tortured now as well. So all those political forces that could bring Libya together are being currently persecuted by NATO's NTC government.
But of course, the revolution in Libya attracted a lot of international attention at the time. You and I are talking about this now, this instability, but why do we hear so little about the violence that followed? Particularly very little response from the NATO allies that obviously supposedly brought this new era to the country.
Straight off, I'd really like to thank Russia Today for being really the only international news channel that has anything close to a semblance of balanced coverage on Libya. Every other channel pretty much has really fallen flat and has failed to provide just the professional level of balanced reporting. To directly answer your question, they've achieved what they wanted to achieve. That's NATO and the NTC forces. They wanted to overthrow Gaddafi, and they wanted to scramble for the mineral wealth and for political power in Libya. In as much they want to do that, they've been successful, and that alone is their definition of democracy. We widen that out to the regional context of Africa. Before the lynching of Gaddafi himself and the regime change of Libya, no AFRICOM military exercises in Africa. That's the US military command, which had to be based in Stuttgart in Germany before the overthrow of Libya. After the overthrow of Gaddafi's Libya, already we're seeing 14 planned AFRICOM military exercises on the African continent. So absolutely, Libya was the veritable shield of Africa, and now that's dropped. You know, imperialism and the West is rolling on Africa.
Sukant, thanks very much indeed for your thoughts. Sukant Chandan, author and journalist, live there in London.